Hello, dear listeners. Good morning. Welcome to episode 7 of Much Ado About Nothing. In today's episode, we talk about the urban gardener. This podcast is focused towards bringing multiple facets of urban life, especially urban gardening. Cities like Mumbai might be synonymous with towering skyscrapers and crowded streets. There's quite a greener revolution happening in balconies, terraces, and small patches of land across the city. This revolution got a bit of kick during the COVID pandemic, where there was a lot of time that people had in their hands and they couldn't venture outside, so they started cultivating new hobbies and trying new experiments. So, developing urban gardens, especially gardens within homes and especially garden within tiny homes in Mumbai, became a uh, uh, big hobby or a very trendy topic. We we have seen that people use their small balconies. They have rooftops or even windowsills to hang small pots with some trees and create green spaces. I have seen people in my neighborhood nurturing their plants um, with small flower plants, ornamental plants, even some people cultivating a little bit of vegetables in the larger pots and hanging them where they could reach to some sunlight and grow. So, this is a good way of first uh, putting some time into productive hobbies. It calms you down, it soothes your nerves, it also reclaims nature back as the cities turn into concrete jungles. Urban gardening is a way to get nearer to nature. Why does it matter? One is aesthetics. It looks nicer, it looks pretty. Definitely, it helps a bit in improving the amount of oxygen in the air. But more than improving air quality, this helps in reducing stress and offers a bit of calmness from the frenetic pace of an urban city. If you remember in the episode of mindfulness, we talked about developing a hobby. Even before that episode, when we had an episode on cycling and biking, we talked about how it is helping to calm nerves. It helps people to reduce stress because they are one with nature. They are spending time outside, they're looking at greenery. So it's a great therapy for people. In the same way, urban gardening helps to reduce stress and offers a refuge from the city's frantic pace. It supports biodiversity in the most concrete jungle, creating different kinds of flowers, preserving new species. It helps because the birds and the insects and earthworms and the entire ecosystem benefits once you set up new life or new plants around you. And this is for people who are living in high rises in flats. Of course, if you're living on a ground floor and you have a lot of space where you can cultivate on earth, on ground, then you can also grow plants and larger trees, and it can give shade, and so that birds can have their nests there and a lot more. But for people who have limited space, how would you start? One is definitely you can start with smaller pots, or even before earth, just a bottle of water and put a twig of money plant in it. Money plant will grow just in water. Next step would be having small pots, and growing some very simple ornamental plants, or some very simple um, stem cuttings. You know, if you have some space for a bit of larger earthen pot, maybe you can plant rose through stems, and rose grows really well and looks very pretty as a plant. It needs a bit of maintenance, but it looks very pretty. So, but it will require a bit of sunlight. So, and because the pot is a bit larger, so you might need a bit of sunlight, and you have to put it in a place that has a lot of sunlight. You have to water it timely and everything. Most of the homes in India are not that electronically advanced to have electronic water system where there would be a water dispenser that will dispense water at particular time every day. Most people would have to physically be present to dispense water. So that amount of care is required for larger plants. Smaller plants, you can hang it on a windowsill and just water it as you pass by. What could be the challenges in urban gardening? One is which we have one the first challenge is what we have been discussing since the beginning. That's the space. As the space is often tight, we do not have uh, an opportunity to grow trees that require a lot of sunlight, and second is pollution levels are high. So if there are plants that require bit more care, they may not grow that well in polluted areas. Water can be scarce as well. So if you have a large nursery, keeping watering the plant, or um, watering the entire field timely, regularly, especially when there aren't any rains happening for a couple of days or for a week at a stretch, water scarcity can impact those trees and the crops. Usually, it rains pretty frequently in Mumbai, but in the month of November, December, January, you would definitely not have that much rain, so you would need supply of water. Seasonal plants will anyway grow, and but if you want a nursery or a garden that will be there throughout the year, then you may feel that you will require adequate irrigation system. You can, of course, try vertical gardening that will save space, hydroponics, which is growing food in water, growing trees in water, not food. That could be an alternative, and using recycled materials as plant containers. Those could be alternatives. Mindfulness through gardening. How can we talked about this in the mindfulness episode? Gardening is more than just a hobby; it's a form of mindfulness. The act of nurturing a plant, watching it grow, and it grows at its own pace, so it calms you down. You can't expect it to grow at 2x or 3x fast. And tending to it daily, it creates a sense of calm and purpose, sense of responsibility. Uh, of course, people do have pets in their home, so that also is a good sense of calmness and growth, because pets also grow like human beings slowly. But trees give a different sense of mindfulness. Simple act of watering plants or pruning can become a very meditative practice when you do it. Uh, it's very useful for ambitious people when they see their plants grow slowly over time. This is something that the finance uh, people or the financial advisors also tell to retail investors to invest and see the corpus grow slowly rather than growing fast. Something similar. So it's like you have planted a tree and it's growing slowly, slow and steady wins the race. Something similar. So mindfulness definitely exists through gardening. Now the story is from a city. Even though I don't have a guest gardener in today's episode, I'll share a story from another podcast where I interviewed Shivam Gupta, who is the founder of the affordable organic store, and where he sells um, seeds, organic seeds, to people at very affordable prices, and how he helped people to set up their own organic gardens through affordable seeds and um, fertilizers and any other items that people require to set up their gardens. Do check out that episode. I'll put that link in the show notes of the story of Shivam and the story of the affordable organic store. As I wrap up the episode, I reflect on the power of nature in transforming our daily lives, especially in a city as dense and fast paced as Mumbai. Urban gardening is more than just a trend, it's a way to bring calm, beauty, and sustainability into our lives. So, whether you have a small pot or a larger terrace, it's time to start planting and see what you can grow. So, what is the call to action for you listeners? If you're inspired by today's episode, why not start your own garden? Share your gardening stories and photos with me on social media, especially Twitter, and tag me there. I'll be more than happy to feature you and your success in one of the future episodes. And let's create a community of urban gardeners in the heart of Mumbai city. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. As usually, um, the episodes before today's episode, all the 6 episodes have been great success because of your support. Continue to do that. Like, review us, rate us, whether you like the episode or not. Give us comments on what we can do better, what topics we can choose. We are now approaching the end of the series of Much Ado About Nothing podcast with Naval. There are only 3 more episodes left, after which we'll close this series and we'll return back next year. But if you want to have any special guests, any special episodes, do let us know. We look forward to your comments and feedback.